So welcome everybody to our AgrAbility National Training Workshop Encores. Today's webinar is Boots to Business Overview, and David Jones from VBOC of New England is our presenter. All right, for those of you who are not familiar with AgrAbility, we are a USDA-sponsored program that assists farmers and ranchers and other agricultural workers with disabilities. We partner with land-grant universities and disability service organizations. Currently, there are 21 state projects. The National AgrAbility Project is led by Purdue's Breaking New Ground Resource Center, and the partners are Goodwill of the Finger Lakes, the Osteoarthritis Action Allowance, AgriSafe Network, Colorado State University, and Washington State University. You can get more information about AgrAbility at our website, www.agrability.org. So today's presenter, I said, was David Jones. David is a proud father of 4 with kids ranging from toddler to college bound. After retiring from the U.S. Army in 2019, he didn't slow down, earning 3 business degrees, associate's, bachelor's, and MBA, a financial advisor license, and continuing a 21-year entrepreneurial journey. With deep roots in small business management and government contracting, David has built a reputation for navigating the complexities of federal procurement. His work has supported hundreds of contracts and millions in federal grants, making him a trusted resource for agencies and entrepreneurs alike. His entrepreneurial spark ignited early working in his family businesses. By 24, he'd launched a B&B in a historic home, followed by a coffee delivery service, a national logistics company for craft beverages, and eventually multiple self-storage facilities and shed lots across the Northeast. Today, at the VBOC of New England, David consults with business owners, helping them scale smartly while continuing to grow his own portfolio. Whether it's startups, nonprofits, or federal programs, he's been there and built that. So, David, welcome, and I will turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Now I don't have to actually say anything about me, which is great. The only thing that I will say is that unfortunately, you're kind of getting the B team here when it comes to the agricultural and farming space. The closest I've had personally in running companies were the coffee business and that logistics company and working with craft brewers. Holly Aker is our subject matter expert when it comes to farming and agricultural. Some of you may know her. And we have other consultants that work on our team too that I would refer out. So I'm more of the general business guy that does stuff. But I try my best to answer any question that anybody has regarding any of our programs. I know the VBOC programs very well. I've acted as the associate director, and I've been consulting for them for almost 6 years now at this point. So again, happy to answer any of those questions. I don't know how familiar everybody is with the VBOC and the services, so I'm going to assume that nobody knows anything and just go from there. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. With that being, shouldn't be a long presentation. It's fairly simple. We try to keep things simple here. But we also try to service our community as much as possible. So in speaking with the VBOC in general, hopefully everybody can see my screen, right? Are we good, Tess, with that? All right, good to go. All right. So VBOC, so we love acronyms. Anybody here from the service? So Veterans Business Outreach Center, we cover New England. There are, pardon me, I'm trying to advance my own slide here. There we go. There are 31 chapters across the country. So our chapter covers the 6 states in New England. So yes, technically we're a nonprofit organization. We work off of federal grant, so we're not federal employees. And our real niche and kind of where we separate from our SBA counterparts is that we only work with service members that are currently in veterans or military spouses that are looking to start their entrepreneurial journey, whether it's, just in the concept phase, pre-revenue, growth, or even the exit phase of their business. We're here to help support them in any way that we can throughout that process. Ways that we do that, we have a couple flagship programs like the Boots to Business here is the main one that we're going to discuss today, and kind of how we've even changed that a couple of years ago to make it more focused on the agricultural industry to meet a need. I'll get into that here in a couple minutes. But in general, we work with service members. We probably work with a couple hundred, I'd say 2 to 300 one-on-one consultations with service members to help them grow their business throughout the year. But we probably service well over 1,000 people just in trainings on an annual basis. We're a small team. We only have 1 or 2 full-time staff that do this typically. But we do have about 18 consultants that work on hand with specifically different backgrounds. Anything from franchising to artificial intelligence to indoor sports complexes, commercial real estate, whatever the case is, we try to make sure that we can pair up the needs of the veteran with someone who has actually been there and done that successfully with their own small business. So that's always the idea. We take every client on and we provide these free services to them and make sure that, during that onboarding assessment that we truly assess what their needs are, because there is no cookie cutter approach when it comes to entrepreneurship. Everybody's situation is different, their backgrounds are different, their needs are different. So we try to make sure that we have a catered approach with every single client that we have here. So we do offer these flagship programs like the Boots to Business that I mentioned, but we also have other partners like we do a revenue readiness with Mississippi State University that you may be familiar with. So we refer people there when they're trying to work on their business plans. We've created internally here within our own team some other programs like Why to How. And it's a program to take people from concept through the launch phase of their business and really focus on, how they're going to like what their marketing plan is, what their growth plan is, what their go-to-market strategy is with their business and help them set up for that. Those are followed up with weekly growth calls too, just a group of like-minded people that get together. We've even recently just this year started to build a back-end support on another platform called School, and we have a lot of digital courses up there that people can access 24/7, 365, and they can communicate with other small business owners, ask people ideas, questions, share resources, and even partner together. So we're trying to do everything we can to meet the needs of the people with the limited resources that we do have. So we try to do a lot with very little, which kind of brings us to the agricultural side of the space. So, in just speaking with some of our veterans that were going through the program, we determined that there were actually quite a few of them that were in the agricultural space or farming space that were in these rural communities that wanted to launch. So, Holly had actually gotten together and started to build a different type of boots to business program specifically catered towards farmers and ranchers. So we just simply call it Boots in Business for Reboot for Beginning Farmers and Ranchers. And it could be a 1 or 2 day training series, but it's an 8 module course, and we're going to get into what each module covers. But really, it's the 1,000 foot view of what it be to be an entrepreneur. It's like to start a new business, how you form it, what the legal structure might look like, determine who your customer base is. So it's again not meant to give you all the answers. It makes you ask questions to yourself where, is entrepreneurship right for me? Where are the opportunities? How do I even get started? What are my resources? What's my availability in our side, as a veteran business owner? Resources are there. And part of this whole program is to make sure that we pair them with, all of our collaborative, whether government resources, all the resources that we have going through it. But here are just some stats on. So we launched this back in 2003, 2023 rather. Sorry. And in that time, the Eventbrite, which is kind of like our link page that we get for people to sign up to look at the actual invitation for the programs for the different modules. We run these about once a quarter. We've had more than 20,000 visitors hit that Eventbrite site. 2,500 people have registered. Of those, we've had over 1,000 attendees actually attend these Boots to Business courses for beginning farmers and ranchers. And as I mentioned, they're all military spouses, active duty, or veterans. And we constantly are still getting feedback from people that just missed the window for whatever reason or had a work conflict that couldn't make it and ask for the next one. So we're constantly having wait lists of people, or people are signing up for mailers or social media so they can see when the next one is going to be presented. So it's really a growing need, and it's grown bigger than I would have thought it would have ever gone. But maybe Holly knew something, it was onto something early, because she took all the time to put this together. So, uh, bunch of different things. So here's the first module that we kind of kick off with people of the 8 modules. This is just to show them how their military background will kind of lead them to success when it comes to small business owners. Just the fact that, the loyalty, duty, respect, some of the hardships they've been through, mission focused type of things. So different traits that service members already possess can actually help guide them and make them better small business owners, whether they realize it or not. So we show them a slide here where, what do all these have in common? And that they're all formed by they're all veteran-owned businesses that were founded by veterans. So the first module is just really that introduction to what is entrepreneurship, what's the mindset, do you have to follow a certain type of prototype in order to fit in it, or is it a skill set that can be taught? And that's kind of the whole point of us discussing this. I just taught this module this morning, and the whole point is just letting them know, like, we wouldn't be doing what we do if we didn't feel that these are skills that can be taught to almost anybody. So there's not a pedigree that you need or background or education. These are literally skills that can be taught. And I use the example of, I have almost 8 years of formal business training with the degrees that I've been through, and it accounts for maybe 3% of what I actually know in business. The rest is just from what I call like the boots on the ground. Yeah, just being there doing that, and just the hard knocks life of business. So anybody can do it. Just if you have the right resources, you're apt to be more successful, and not you probably won't hit as much failure if you have the right partners in place, I guess, to help guide you along the way. I don't know why I was stumbling over that, but simple enough. So that's the first module. The next module is just letting them understand that, really a business is just finding an opportunity. And an opportunity is really just finding a problem and then finding a solution for it. And then looking to see if that problem and solution is a big enough pain point, or if there's enough need for it out there to be an actual business. So whether or not it could just be like a side hobby or a scalable, 6, 7, or 8 figure business. So this is some of the mindset that we just help them walk through to look at different business opportunities. Third module is really about market analytics. The first part is really focused on the customer. Like, who is your ideal customer? Like, where do they shop? What are their buying habits? What are their needs? How do you get in front of them? What does the market look like? What is the industry? What is the landscape of that? Who are your competitors? So we really try to get show them, just open their eyes a little bit as to what it really takes to understand, to be a small business owner, what you need to know about your industry and your market and your customers, and how to get in front of them faster, so that way you can fine tune your business strategy, your economic models, and whatnot that we get into the next modules. Uh, Fourth one is one of my favorite here. It just kind of goes into the economics of the business itself, and we use a couple different examples. But first, we try to just teach them the different types of, you know, business models or economic models, being like, in this example, it's a gallon of honey sold at Walmart is a different type of economic model than a, say, higher priced local honey that, might only be, I don't know how many grams is in a ounces or whatever. I'm terrible at the conversion, but say a 12-ounce jar that might be more of a premium product that is only sold to a select type of market. It's not for the masses. That volume really matters. Like, the margins in your product, they can either be large margins and sell less of them, or it's going to have to be a high volume business with lower margins so you can hit that break even point faster. So we talk about break even points in this. And then we walk them through a couple different examples of different things within the economic model that you can change. Like, you can change volume, you can change pricing, you can change your fixed costs sometimes, through negotiation or purchasing versus renting, and how just those minor little tweaks in a business can make a huge difference on profitability. So this is one of the exercises we walk them through, and it's a great module for people to actually see live. And in the banking, so one of the things is the bail team. So bankers, accountants, insurance, tax professionals, like having these resource partners behind you, whether they're on your board of directors or advisors, maybe they're partners in your business, or maybe they're score mentors, or other people that you can leverage that have knowledge and access to knowledge, just to help set your business up as strong as possible from the beginning. because these are all things that small business owners will have to deal with at some point. So we walk them through what it takes to actually register the business, get it set up, get a tax ID number and create bank accounts and what that corporate veil looks like. So you can separate your all your personal assets from your business assets and that you don't pierce that corporate veil to open you up for more exposure and more legal liability and whatnot. So this is the module where we kind of teach all that and the different structures that you can have within a business and financing the venture. So we get into different types of loan options and possibilities and what it takes on a personal side as you're starting out, especially as a new business owner. That it's more on the personal side, the personal credit, what it takes to actually attain certain credit, what banks look for collateral or, you know, personal guarantees or anything like that. And specifically in these modules, it's more geared towards, what other opportunities are out there, what other government resources are out there for you as well, whether, it's from the SBA side or the agricultural side, grants, any potential opportunity to receive funding. This can even include for our veterans who are service connected, so they have some sort of service connected disability. The vocational rehab and employment, VR&E, is something we've been working heavily on. One of the tracks for the VR&E program is a self-employment track. And this will literally, it's like a grant where if somebody wants to be self-employed as opposed to going back to school or just getting reemployed by this organization through the Veterans Administration, they can actually get startup money to start their business. We just had somebody approved 2 weeks ago for $50,000 to start his business. So it's a great tool that is useful to some of our entrepreneurs as they're starting out. So again, it's more the financing side and kind of how they can get started and how they can grow. And then business planning. We like everybody to have some sort of business plan. We use a business model canvas, which is just like a little template. It's like an outline for what you need to start your actual business plan. But for those who are seeking traditional like bank financing from institutions like that, uh, maybe even through investments or whatnot, but still, we like to have our clients set up some business plan, even if it's simple, just to hold them accountable, just to make them think through the processes of all the steps that are required to fill out a business plan. It just helps you understand the numbers of your business, your customer, what you're projecting for growth and whether or not this is feasible. So putting it down on paper really helps a lot of these businesses grow. So this, again, we don't do a lot of formal training just in this one course because this could be a 1 day crash course and this module might only be 50 minutes. But for those who are interested, they can get follow-up services from one-on-one consulting or, through our other partners, through like Mississippi State or something like that. But we kind of go through, what that is, what the value proposition looks like, differentiators in your business when you're starting a business. Um, and lastly, really is the culmination of, okay, now what's next? Now what else do you have access to? And we show them all the resource partners that they have throughout. Again, this is everybody, and this is a growing list. This is obviously something that we're trying to make sure that we're working and partnering with all those resource partners to refer them out, knowing that again, with a small staff like we can only do so much. So a lot of this is based on referrals and these relationships to help them move forward in their journey. And we're always here to help if they need to cycle back again at some point growing or if they hit a hurdle. We can always reactivate them as client. They can always come back on board to come through. But that's the boots to business in a nutshell. And that's again, like our flagship course that's kind of been catered a little bit more to our beginner farmers and ranchers and all of our partners and whatnot. So again, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have. I don't really have another slide for that. But I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have here, at least towards the Veterans Business Outreach Center and our general services, or I'll answer the best I can to anything with the beginning farmers and ranchers. But again, like Holly would be our specialist with that. So anything that I can't answer, I'm happy to forward through to her. Actually, you know what? I do have our emails here somewhere. I don't know why they're not pulling up. Hold on, I'm gonna reshare 1 second. I think I was a little quick to. It looks like it's popping up now. It was a blank screen before for some reason. It just wasn't loading. But these are really our goals. Real simple. To make sure that we increase the number of veteran-owned farm businesses out there. A lot of these are in the rural areas, obviously. Improving their financial outcomes, really letting them realize that, you know, there's definitely an opportunity for veteran business owners to get into this space. There's actually a disproportionate amount of veteran farmers out there than are in the community, and that we're here to support them and make sure that they understand like what that model looks like, and hopefully that they could possibly create a living to do this. And I think, come on, last slide. There we go. Now it's popping up. So that's my direct contact information. Again, I kind of work as right now an outside consultant for the VBOC. Um, Although I have stepped in as the associate director before. Holly Aker right now is our acting executive director. For anybody who had known Jenny, Jenny has actually moved on to another role. So Holly's in the interim taking over, and there'll be more to that later. There are some other programs that are in the pipeline right now. I can't discuss them right now, but we do have other programs that look like they're going to be coming in here in the next quarter or so that are going to allow us even more opportunity and resources to help beginning farmers and ranchers, specifically at a more individual level or group level, like these small cohorts that we're looking to get through, to be able to help them with their training, to help them with their business plan, and give them more guidance. So, in addition to just the Boots to Business course, which again, there could be dozens or 100 people attending any one of these training sessions, to actually get some of these people who are serious and ready to move forward into small cohorts that will keep them going for weeks on end, to make sure that they're progressing through the business cycle and getting ready to launch. So more on that later. I can't share too much right now, but there is more stuff coming.
All right, we do have a few questions in the chat. So the first one is, do all 31 programs have a Boots to Business program, or is this only within your coverage area?
No, the Boots to Business program is a Department of Defense program that we teach for them. So it started on military bases. So we offer a 2-day Boots to Business course on military bases across the country. But then we also offer a Boots to Business reboot. And these are usually online. Sometimes they're hybrid, but they're usually online, and it's kind of like a 1-day crash course. And all of the VBOC chapters teach these at any given time. So it doesn't matter what location you live in. I've had people from Alaska join. I had people down in Georgia on the call this morning. California, there was somebody on the call from California this morning. So it doesn't matter who's presenting it that day. It's the same material for the standard Boots to Business. As far as the beginning farmers and ranchers, that's kind of our thing. We're the one that kind of launched this, and we offer this again nationally, so that way everybody has access to it. Now, some of the follow-up one-on training, the consultations, the cohorts, that sort of stuff, that would be geographically spaced. So if you do have a client who's a veteran that wants to go through the process and partner with the VBOC, as well as partner with other FBA resources, we would just refer them out to that local VBOC chapter. Simple enough. If they can't find it on their own, we're happy to introduce them.
Okay, and I think you covered the second question, is have you worked with veterans outside of New England? So you kind of covered that when you were answering the last one. All right. Where would a veteran look to sign up for this training?
Yeah, so I mean it's fairly simple. If you just go online, it's on the SBA resources page. But if you just type in VBOC, and you should be able to find it on the SBA page. Maybe I can share a link here if I pull up my other screen here. I'm sure I could get to the link. Um, but yeah, I'll share that in the chat here as we're going. So
Okay. Does the veteran have to have 100% disability rating to receive a startup grant or participate in this program?
no, to my knowledge, now I went through this VRNE program 10 years ago myself. I was only the second person in Rhode Island to get approved for it. Um, and back then they were only offering like $2,000 to $3,000 for you to start your business. That's why I ended up turning it down, and then I went back to school to get my MBA. Um, so no, you do not have to be 100% by any means. You just have to qualify for the VRNE program. And to my knowledge, I think it's 20% or more, or at least more than 10%. So somewhere in that range. It's either 10 or 20%, but they can check with their local VA benefits person to see if they qualify for it. Um, I will tell you that it is a path less traveled. Less than 1% of all VRE clients that go through the self-employment track. We're getting better, but it's still based on the actual office that they're working with. So we're in this area, we're setting up like memorandums of understanding with our local offices to say what is the path forward, what do referrals look like, what are we going to do on our end, because we need to be able to sign off on their actual business plan. So an SBA representative has to sign off on their business plan, and they have to sign off on what's called a feasibility tool, which is kind of like a business plan, but kind of dumbed down a little bit more. Because the VRE counselors, they're not business professionals at all. They went to school for vocational rehab, and they understand like disabilities and what industries look like and growth of industries, and that's what they went to school for. They didn't go to school for business, so they rely on us to take care of that part for them. So
The next question says, how can other states connect with a VBOC if they want to sponsor a Boots to Business event, like an in-person event?
yeah, you can reach out to your local chapters. So it's usually good getting closer to the end of our year. So our grant kicks off in like May. So if you reach out to your local VBOC chapter prior to the end of the year when they're starting to do their next year planning for the grant, you might want to get on the docket for that. But it depends on every area. Some areas, some states have a lot more resources than others. Some might already be committed. Some might have opportunities to still work on it. It really depends in if you could provide a location, if you want to have one in person, like if you help get the word out to people, if as long as we have presenters that can make it there, either virtually or in person, we usually like I can only speak for ours, but we typically run at least one a month, at least. Sometimes we run, especially with the beginner farmers and ranchers. Like we had Holly's doing a beginning farmers and ranchers right now. That's why she's not here. I taught one module this morning and then I jumped off and then I was able to fill in here. But Monday we had taught another Boots to Business course. We usually do like one in person per quarter just because the travel and cost or whatnot, the grant, we have to stay within budget. So we can only travel so much, but virtually you have a good opportunity to be able to set one of these up if you just reach out to your local chapter when they're doing their planning. And they might still have time throughout the year too, especially if there's no travel costs or something like that. They might just be able to fit it into their schedule.
So I did just post a link to the VBOC page.
Oh,
Um, there you
I
go.
just copied it from my browser.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I was able to do it while you were talking, so no problem. So somebody else did say, how would I sign up for this course or find other resources? So again, I think that link is probably where you would suggest they go, correct?
That's a good because every VBlock we try to social media because it's easy to get information out there on social. But we use this other platform called it's where we partner with the SBA to actually list the Boots to Business courses. Actually, you know what? I can share. You can see
Okay,
all the Boots to Business actual training here. Just give me a second to pull.
no problem.
Why is that not loading? That's odd. Okay. My page isn't loading for some reason. But yeah, there is actually specifically a Boots to Business course that you can see. But like I said, you can sign up for any program by any office. It doesn't matter. It does is it kind of opens the door to other things. So once they complete, if they decide that they still need further in something else, then as long as they're signed up through their local block, and it about 5 minutes to register with your local VBOC online. Everything's online. Typically, like the way we handle it, we see some if somebody's interested, if they just send in like email to us, just a basic email saying they express interest, we usually send them the login to register for the VBOX services. It takes about 5 minutes. Once you register for that, we notification and send out another welcome email and then an invitation to do a boarding call. So, and in the next 20 to 60 minutes, we'll intake to see like what those needs are, to see what might be the best path forward for that individual, depending on their needs. So really easy to sign up for. But again, you can simply either call or email. Most VBOC chapters have like an info inbox, and you can just email that inbox and just say you're interested in services, and they'll send you the link usually. I mean, that's definitely how we run it.
Okay.
Someone said they don't see the link.
Yeah, I hadn't, it didn't post, but it's on there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Does anybody else have a question they want to put in the chat or raise their hand? I don't see anyone with a raised hand either.
I know why.
Okay. Well, David, thank you very much. That was very informative. We appreciate you jumping in. I know, like you said, this wasn't, you weren't the original presenter, but because Jenny has moved on, we appreciate you stepping in.
Yeah, so I wish I could answer more agricultural specific thing for you. But again, if there's any questions, forward them to myself or probably Holly. And she'll be able to answer any specific questions you have around the agricultural space itself. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions just regarding any sort of veteran type programs or benefits or just general VBOC services, or even questions about just VA stuff. I mean, I've used almost every benefit there is out there over the last, I don't know, 25 years now. So yeah, happy to help out any way I can.
All right.
And thank you, everybody. I appreciate all your response, and those were great questions.
Great. And David, would you mind emailing me your slides that we can put on our website along with the recording? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see an issue with that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, again, I don't see any more questions, just lots of thank yous. And we appreciate your time, David.
Excellent. Are you guys staying on to do any more information, or is the webinar over once this is done?
The webinar is over.
Okay.
So,
I
yeah.
was going to say I'd stick on for a couple minutes if anybody had any random stuff that I could answer in the chat, but
Okay.
I don't want to hold people up if they're not, yeah, if there's no more information to put out.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your
Thank you.
time and your information, David.
All right. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. So keep it up, please. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.